Hello everyone. Today I'm going to explain the feature of designated gateway. There's a function that might be misunderstood with the designated gateway on NU, which is called the default gateway. And we will talk about the differences between these functions later. Let's get started. What is designated gateway? NU can set up one or multiple interfaces as a designated gateway. If you want to add WAN type and MPLS VPN type interfaces to the NU as an outbound interface, you need to configure them in the designated gateway. When there are packets to be transmitted externally, the NU uses security policy and the designated gateway settings to define how to forward them to the next gateway. And administrators can set up multiple designated gateway and then bind the same type of lines into a designated gateway group. For example, I have a fixed IP address as WAN1 and the PPPoE IP as WAN2. These two interfaces can access the internet. They belong to the same type. Then I can bind WAN1 and WAN2 to a designated gateway group. If we bind the multiple lines to a group, it means the group can perform load balancing. What is default gateway? There's a function called the default gateway, and it might be confused with the function of designated gateway. The default gateway is usually used for NU updates. NU use it to update the signatures and the databases. Another scenario where it is used is when your policy uses default and no designated gateway is specified. The default gateway will be used. What's the differences between those? The default gateway is usually used for NU updates. Only designated gateway can be specified in security policies and applied to load balancing. Assume that a packet needs to pass through an MPLS interface. You must set up MPLS as a designated gateway to select it in the security policy, rather than set it up as a default gateway, because MPLS are not intended for NU updates. When should we set up an designated gateway? It can be broadly categorized into the following two items. If you meet either one, you need to set up a designated gateway. The first is when the packets need to be transmitted through a designated interface. The second is when load balancing is needed. First, when the packets need to be transmitted through to a designated interface. The diagram on the left represents that when we need to access the internet, we must transmit through the specified WAN interface. At this point, we can set the WAN interface as a designated gateway. The second example is I have two external lines. One is WAN1 with a fixed IP address, and the other is WAN2 with a PPPoE dynamic IP address. And I have a mail server that needs to specify using WAN1 IP address when sending emails. And my other internal users are specified to use the WAN2 for internet access. So I can bind WAN1 and WAN2 each as a separate designated gateway. Then I can use policy to ensure that they each use their designated gateway for internet access. Second, when load balancing is needed, NU offers 4 load balancing modes. First is source IP address. The second is destination IP address. And third, session and mean first. In the diagram on the left, we assume a scenario where I have WAN1 and WAN2, both of which are designated gateway to the internet. However, WAN1 has a higher bandwidth, while WAN2 has a lower bandwidth. I want to load balance them so that both lines are used together, but WAN1 is used more. In this case, I can bind the two lines together, and I can choose to set a higher weight for WAN1 and a lower weight for WAN2, and then it will perform load balancing according to my weight setting. How to set up those? This is designated gateway configuration. The diagram on the left shows the architecture where we set WAN1 as the designated gateway. You can refer to the settings on the side. The first one is a required field. The name can be freely defined. The second one is an optional field. If left blank, it defaults to 0.0.00/0. Usually, we use security policies to restrict the destination, so there's no need to fill this in. It can be left blank. For the third one, please select the required interface from the drop-down menu. After selecting, it will automatically populate the fourth item. If there are multiple IP addresses bound to the same WAN interface, it will list all the interface IP addresses on the menu. The fifth one is a required field. You need to set the gateway IP address. The sixth one is the line detection method. There are 4 options: ICMP, ARP, DNS, and none. This function means that if response is detected, the designated gateway is considered active. Otherwise, it is considered inactive. None means no detection is performed, and the line is always considered active without any detection. The target for detection is specified in the 7th item. In this example, we want to set WAN1 as a designated gateway. Refer to the diagram on the left. We will select the WAN1 interface and choose the interface IP 10.10.10.1 and then enter the gateway IP 10.10.10.2. Since this is an internet line, we will specify the detected IP address as 8.8.8.8. At the bottom, there's an item called Enable Spare Gateway. This means that if this designated gateway goes down, it will automatically switch to another backup gateway, which is another designated gateway. If the detection mode is set to none, the backup function cannot be enabled, because with none, we cannot determine whether the line is down or active, so the backup function cannot be used. This is designated gateway group configuration. The designated gateway group is a feature used when we need to perform low balancing. There are several modes: session, source IP, destination IP, mean first. According to the efficiency of the device, it is suggested to use the session mode for load balancing. First, we can set up the group name. It can be the second one is to choose the load balancing mode. It is suggested to use the session mode. The third one is to set how often to detect the line, suggested to be set to 10 seconds. The fourth part is to set the weight. Checking the box means using this designated gateway. On the right side, you can set the weight value. The higher the weight, the greater the chance of using that line. That concludes the explanation of the designated gateway and the designated gateway group. Thank you all for listening.